Welcome to Brian Redgrave's review of Wandavision, episode 6. Now, you're wondering why I'm doing a review episode 6 without not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Originally, I was really planning on doing like a big season review, and I was okay with that, but as the show's gone on, I've been just dying to review and talk about it. I'm like, I can't wait anymore for another 3 episodes to review the whole season with all this stuff bringing just mystery after mystery after mystery. I gotta do this now. So episode 6 picks up from where episode 5 left off, in which we had Quicksilver make his grand return to the MCU, except it wasn't the Quicksilver we know from the MCU, and if not, the one from X-Men movies. Now, at first, it was a confusion as to, was this really the same Quicksilver, just with a different face, or was this from another universe and pulled up here? We don't really know, but he does seem to be the one from the MCU, just with a different face. Why does he have a different face? We don't actually know. Wanda doesn't know. She's questioning this. And it's a mystery as to why that is, since she herself doesn't know. We know this world is her creation, but there seems to be some stuff that she's not being able to control lately, or manipulate the way she wants to do. And this was an episode of, it was Halloween time in this episode, and it's funny because Wanda, Vision, and Quicksilver, they're all dressed in like comic book outfits instead of the like anything, like they're using their comic book outfits since they don't really have those outfits in the MCU, especially like Wanda's outfit is completely different. So that was a neat Easter egg. It was really cool to see that. The episode goes back into somewhat of a comedic stuff through the first half, which was good. It's like the first half of the show where the sitcom element kind of took forefront, but the second half of the episode things get more serious. Vision is investigating because what happened last episode. This fight with him and Wanda when he's like, "Oh, I don't remember anything before Westview. How come, we can't leave? Where are the children?" Was really interesting. We haven't seen kids before the twins, even in the magic show for the children. And out of nowhere, we have all these children in Westview, which was really, really like interesting. Even Vision questioned that in the last episode, like, why don't I see children in the park? But I don't know where we have all these kids just walking around and trick or treating. Is like, where were they this whole time? Were they just hiding inside their houses since they didn't play a part in Wanda's, movie, show, sitcom? She didn't have a part for them yet, and then she just decided to bring him out now. And Vision decides not to go trick or treating with them. Instead, he chooses to investigate. And, because of what happened, the guy who's, I guess, spell he broke last week, so he goes around, investigates, and he gets to a part of town where everybody's just standing still. There's this lady who's like stuck in this like position of like if she were decorating Halloween stuff, but she has a tear in her eye. So we know these people are suffering, and that adds an element of mystery. Like this is kind of scary. Like these guys are just stuck there like mummies, not even moving, because I guess they don't have a part to play in Wanda sitcom yet, or at all. Maybe they just there as background characters. So that was really interesting. He even finds Vision, even finds Agnes, who is like stuck with the car, just sitting there, and she's obviously in distress. People thought she was the villain, but from this episode, it doesn't seem like that because Vision breaks the illusion, and she's like you're dead. Like, and this is the first confirmation that Vision now knows that he's technically supposed to be dead. And she even questioned whether she's even alive, and she confirms that Wanda is doing this and she needs to be stopped. And she assumes he's there to help because he is an Avenger. And to which then he puts her back in the trance, when she starts panicking and laughing in this like, I guess, pain laugh. Like sometimes we laugh when we're in pain. And then he decides to go to the edge of town of Westview, and he tries to exit the hex. He tries to exit, and he's forcing himself out with all his power. I'm assuming, because I'm assuming like the Barry, he's like doing force. It's not just walking through. He eventually sees Sword, who's outside, and it's just crazy because he's asking for their help, but then he starts to break down. Now this, I don't know if he's breaking down because he's being pulled back into the hex or because he's dead. Like realities are catching up with him. Like he can't live, he can't be alive outside this world. Which begs the question: when this show ends, will Vision remain dead permanently, or will they find a way to bring him back permanently? Which is interesting. And as that's happening, the kids are trick or treating with Wanda and their uncle Pietro, and the one of the kids whose name I can't remember begins to hear Vision in pain and sees visions of Vision in pain and somewhat like around the soldiers, and then funny enough, Quicksilver says your dead husband can't be dead again. Something like that. Something along the lines of that too, which pisses off Wanda. She blasts him away, which was crazy because I don't know, like, is she beginning to know that this isn't really like Pietro? Because we don't know. She doesn't even know half the stuff when it comes to regards to him. So then, instead of flying towards him or going towards him like I thought she was gonna do, she instead creates a big ass force field from the hex and makes it just bigger and starts sucking everything that was in range before. So the sword gets dragged in there, and we see them transform from sword agents to clowns and the tank to a van, and we see everything being rewritten in her vision, in her world, and we see it was a crazy imagery because it really played a big part to like, man, she really is that powerful. She's making this world even bigger. It was great. I really thought she was just gonna go get Vision flying to him or running to him, but instead she just makes the world even bigger for her, which is crazy. It shows how powerful she is. And then the episode ended there, and I'm like, come on, like 3 more episodes. Like I cannot wait till next Friday. And honestly, it was great. We also had the squad of Monica, the cop, and Darcy, whose name I can't even remember. I can't remember the cop guy, but they go along in a separate mission and to find a way back into the hex because Rambo says she knows a guy who can help her, and that's gonna be interesting to see who that guy is. They haven't mentioned his name, so maybe it'll be a cameo. Maybe somebody we know. Maybe it'll be somebody from the X-Men or Fantastic Four. Somebody, since now we have the guy who played Quicksilver in the universe. Who else could they get in here? So we'll see. I'm very very excited. This episode, the first half was funny. The second half was kind of sad and creepy with all the stuff that Vision was seeing. And honestly, this was an amazing episode. This show, it got to a point where it's been great episode after great episode after great episode. It's fantastic, and I cannot wait to next week's episode. So now it begs the question. I began to think because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Agnes is the villain." Obviously, Wanda comes off as the villain, which as of right now, I think Stan, she kind of is the villain. She is, trapping people in this reality. She's just forcing them to do things against their will. She is mind controlling everybody. It's a Vision which she can't. Vision, he's seen through some of the stuff. So I'm beginning to think that maybe Pietro Quicksilver is the actual villain of the show. Maybe. I've seen people say, oh, Mephisto, maybe Agnes was Mephisto, but I begin to think maybe Quicksilver is Mephisto. And that element of mystery kind of adds to the episode because we don't know. We're in episode 6 and we don't know everything. We know some stuff compared to when the show started, but it's like with every new answer we get, we also get a new question followed by that. And we're going back and forth between here's an answer, but here's a new question. Here's an answer, here's a new question. And it adds to the mystery. And with 3 more episodes and all these last amazing episodes that have preceded this one, Wandavision has a lot of momentum going in right now. Now, whether it falls apart in the end, hopefully not. I don't think so, but who really knows? And honestly, like, if he is the villain, because it's the one guy who she doesn't know how he got there. Even though she says she doesn't know how all this started, she just remembers being in pain and sad. Obviously, we know that's because of Vision's death, which, and we also know she stole Vision's body because we were told last episode. So we don't actually know how this started, but we know she's in control. And she seems to be in control of everybody except for Pietro's character, if he even is Pietro. So that adds to that mystery where I think he's actually the villain. And honestly, that guy, he was great in this episode. He was funny, he was likable, even though he might be the villain. But as the uncle character, he was great with his nephews and the scenes where they're trick or treating and he's like speeding in circles, grabbing candies, breaking pumpkins. That part was just hilarious to me. And we see Wanda seeing them do that, but everybody else doesn't have a clue, which it was funny. Honestly, this episode I really loved it. The last three episodes specific, sorry, have been just fantastic. If I had to score the episode, I would really, really give it a 9 out of 10. It was just fantastic. It was great. It wasn't as dramatic as last week's episode. I thought last week's episode was definitely a 10 out of 10. But a 9 out of 10 for this one is still a damn good episode. You should watch it. If you're not watching this show and you love the MCU, bro, you're missing out. Greg Grave, out.